I just can't take it anymore. It's been way too long. I know I said I was gonna do front squats solely until I hit 4 plate front squat, and then I was gonna move over to the back squats, and then I'll go for the 5 plate back squat. It's been something like 2 weeks, I think, since I've last done back squats or something like that. Feels like it's been freaking months. I just can't take it. It's by far my favorite lift out of all the stuff that I've ever done. High bar ATG squatting is my favorite by far. Front squats are great, deadlifts are great, everything's great. But this is my favorite lift. This is the lift that makes me feel like, this is what I want to do. So I'm gonna have to go back on my word. I'm gonna say that the back squat is back. It's my favorite lift, and to go another month or another 2 or 3 months without back squatting completely, so I can push this front squat business, it's just way too much. So today I decided to go back to back squats. I did front squats as well. I actually started with 10 sets of 10 at 70 kilos of sumos. So I did that. This is at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I wasn't going to push, heavy weight. I've said this before. I don't want to bang weights around when it's like 5 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. I don't want to, be an ass towards the neighbors. So I did sumos. I did front squats, and then I went to back squats. And for the back squats, I'm thinking, because I want them back and I don't want to be pushing them harder than the front squats, I thought to myself, let's just stick with like sets of 5 or something like this. So today, that's what I did. It worked up to 160 kilos for a set of 5. It feels good. It feels great. It feels so light. 160 kilos in front squat, I feel like I'm in absolute war. The thing wants to fall off me. The thing is just trying to bend me in half. With the back squat, man, I can be in that rack position, the back high bar rack position for days, it seems. It's comfortable. All I have to think about is my hips, which are wider than normal. So last time I back squatted, I feel like my stance was a lot more narrower. Since I've started doing this sumo business and front squat business, I feel like my stance is naturally wanting to go a little wider. So I've been doing front squats for a little while now, and longer than 2 weeks. I've been doing it for a little bit. For the last 2 weeks, solely front squats, and I feel like my stance is changing. I feel like there's different pathways now for me to move, different kind of muscles to use. So it's going to be interesting to see how I go between the 3 lifts: sumo, front, and back. But I don't know how quickly or how much I'm going to back squat. But when something is your favorite, when something is something that you look forward to the most, it would be silly to let it go for like a quarter of a year, man. Like, it's already been 2 weeks, and I know it's, for a lot of you guys, it's like 2 weeks is nothing, man. It's fine. Don't panic. For me, it's like, it's the best thing that I do, man. It's my favorite thing. And so even if I work up to a freaking single at 70% in the back squat, I'll take that, man. I'll take anything. This morning I thought, okay, let's walked in here, I was like, okay, I'll do pause squats, because with pause squats, man, like you can't move as much weight as when you're just using the reflex. And then I thought, let's get some damn reps in. And so that's what I did. Did a whole bunch of 5s, and that was it. Feels fantastic. I actually feel like I might be sore tomorrow. It's so weird how moving the bar from the back to the front rack position, it's still a squat, right? But it changes things, man. Especially for me, like with the front squat, I feel like I'm much more wider, and I spread my knees a lot more to kind of facilitate that upper or that upright torso angle. So I need to do that. But with back squat, I feel like even a slight angle change in the torso, slight biasing towards more angle, it just incorporates different muscles. It's so damn strange, man. This is why I feel like you need to practice, even though like some of these things are so damn close to what we might be doing the exact same thing, the exact thing that we're talking about. That's 100% specificity, right? Specificity is one of those things. It's like you might do a lot of front squatting, and you think to yourself, okay, in 3 months' time, I'll go back to the back squat and it's going to fly up. It might not necessarily. The front squat is similar, but it's not 100% the same as a back squat. I remember a guy who actually trained alongside Ivan Abajev, Max Ada. He's one of the coaches there with Chad Wesley Smith at Juggernaut Training Systems. He made a whole bunch of videos about, Bulgarian, how he trained with them and whatnot. And I remember he talked about how he transitioned into powerlifting and how he, so he never used to back squat. Only occasionally when he would hurt, his wrist or something, Abijev would get him to do some back squats. So predominantly it was a front squat thing. And so when he was transitioning years after, when he was transitioning into back squatting, he's like, my front squat was basically the same as my back squat, the maxes. I think he even said his front squat was even higher, which is unreal, right? But that goes to show you it's a different movement. As much as we like to say one will carry over to the other 100%, and it does, but still it's a slightly different movement pattern, and you should practice it. And so the least I can do is continue to hammer away at the front squats, but also remind my body that, okay, this is also a movement that we need to be familiar with. So even in the last 2 weeks, I feel like the back squat feels weird, man. Like I want to stay upright. That's kind of the general vibe of front squats. But because I'm going way deeper, it seems, with back squats, just because of the angle that I'm leaning over a little more, it's asking the hip capsule of other questions. There's a lot more range of motion, and the weight's a little heavier now, and so it's a bit different. So I'm going to have to kind of work out, to familiarize myself with the two sets of stances. So one stance is, the wider kind of feet turned out a little bit more. That's the front squat. But with the back squat, I've always felt more comfortable with a more narrower, more legs underneath my hips than out to the side. Because, with the back squat, you don't necessarily need to be 100% upright like a freaking candle. You can afford to lean over a little bit. So anyway, that was the story for this morning. I didn't plan to work hard at all. I recorded 5 or 6 sets with the sumos. I'm continually working on that. That seems to be, the best thing. As soon as I come in, do that. It's like I said, it's not fun for me to do sumo. It's very much like my left hand in basketball. I spoke about that in an earlier video. So those type of exercises are best done first thing. As soon as you walk in, do that. Because the chances are, if you do them last, you're going to be skipping on them because you'll be tired, on top of the fact that you don't find this exercise fun because you're crap at it. So it's best to do these weaknesses first. It kind of reminds me of, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He talked about doing calves as soon as he walked in. For years, he had like these, what he called really weak calves. He couldn't get them developed. And so there's a lot of photos of him basically posing with his pants around his knees and never kind of revealing his calves. And there's pictures of him kind of at the beach, right in the water up to the knees to kind of not show his calves. So it was like a little thing with him. And eventually kind of occurred to him that he needs to train this thing all the time. And so he started doing it. Every training session, he would open up with calves. Because, most people, what do? Most people just walk in and they're like, okay, let's do my favorite thing. Let's do deadlift, squats, all the stuff that we like to do. And then leave the calves at the end. And so obviously, because you're spent, you're both nervously, you're not in tune with training anymore, you're over it, and you're also tired physically. And so those sets and reps that you end up doing right at the end are just really poor quality. So the first exercise that you do is the most important because you're fresh. You've got glycogen, you've got mental energy stores, if you will, and you're ready to get at it. These back squats, that's my favorite lift, man. I did it today, man, but the whole time I knew this was gonna come. So the whole time I'm there, like, rubbing my hands. I can't wait to get through these damn sumos and the front squat to get to my favorite lift. And it was a really fun morning. How much fun can you have at 5 o'clock in the morning? It's cooler and, your body's asleep, no food in the belly, nothing like all these things are kind of mounting on top. But I felt a little bit of excitement, more so than usual. So moving forward, that's what's going to be. It's going to be a front squat every day. That's going to be on the menu every single day. And back squat, I'm hoping that I can also hit every day. Obviously, for sessions like this morning where I have to get through the whole thing in like 45 minutes, an hour, it's a tight schedule and it's not very long rest intervals. So for these 5 o'clock, this is the thing with me, man. Like I've got these different kind of plans in my head. So I've got a plan for my days off where I can freaking, pluck in 3-hour sessions. I can do whatever I want. But for these morning sessions where I'm limited on time and resources, really, energy and all the rest of it, there needs to be a different kind of approach. In the past, I used to kind of load up 180, 190 on the back squat, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, yeah, that's good. But a lot of those times I'd walk away and I'm like, man, that felt shit, man. Like it didn't feel crisp, clean. It felt like I was straining a whole lot. And it's just too much for early mornings. And so I would kind of not look forward to those type of sessions. But now doing 10 sets of 10 at 70 kilos, sumo, easy. I can freaking sleep through that. Front squats, I worked up to 120 times 5. Yesterday I did 140 times 5. And so today I was like, okay, let's not push the needle that far. So did that. And for the back squat again, I did 160 for a set of 5. I think I've got 170, 180 for times 5 in me. So that's kind of how I think about it. I've got these kind of quick dirty sessions. And then I've got the full Monty sessions where I actually think about, okay, I want to do some lunges, I want to do some hamstrings, I want to do some sumos, fronts. But, there's a lot of freaking exercises in my mind right now. Because I train every day, I want to train all these lifts every day, but it's hard. It's hard. So right now in the mix, right, this is my top 4 movements that I have in my mind. How do you play that? I've got the sumo, I've got the conventional deadlift, and I've got the front and the back squat. So, ideally I'd love to do all 4 every day, but I can't. So what am I left with? I'm left with the current goal of hitting 4 plates on front squats. So the front squats are like number 1 priority. So that's number 1. Number 2, these sumos are a weakness, and these sumos I feel like are feeding into the front squat problem with my opening the hips up. And so the sumos need to be in the picture as well. So on morning sessions like this, that's what's going to be a sumo front squat. So sumo deadlift front squat that's kind of the baseline. And then because the morning sessions, I don't want to wake anybody up, I'm not going to do heavy conventional deadlifting. So that's out of the picture for the morning sessions. And I might end up doing a back squat like I did today. So that, like what you see today, is basically my template for these morning sessions. For the non-morning sessions where I'm feeling fresh and the rest of it, I'll do the whole 4, and I'll rotate the sumos and the conventionals kind of volume. So one day I'll do sumos 10 by 10. Another day I'll do maybe conventional at 180 for 3 sets of 5 or something like that. Obviously, this is all up to auto-regulation, all up to how I feel. But that's kind of the thinking at the moment. I even love watching myself back squat, man. It's just like I have joy seeing myself do that. It's just something that I love. That like that's the lift. That's the whole freaking squat every day program that I've spent so much time freaking doing this lift. It just feels amazing. After 2 weeks, man, it just feels, I love it. But the front squats are a key component to this. My whole thing is this, what you see here, back squats. That's the whole thing. But the front squats, I feel, can be used as a tool to improve my back squats. So I have to prioritize the front squats, keep the back squats simmering in the background, and then, also do sumos to kind of open up my hips and work on that kind of lateral hip girdle, lateral glutes. But this was the top set of the morning. 160 for set of 5. Now notice that last set and this set, the stances are different. So much more narrow in this set. Feel strong, man. Feel really, really strong doing these reps, even though I just went through sumos and front squats and whatever. And yesterday I did a really heavy session. Just feels brilliant. Could have done a couple more reps there, but let's just see how sore I'm going to be tomorrow, because I feel like tomorrow is going to be a sore day. Every time I go away from back squatting for a week or 2, it hasn't happened many times in my life in these last 2 years, but every time I kind of go away and I come back with some volume in the back squat, my adductors are always sore. Nothing else, adductors. And what am I trying to do with these damn sumos? Adductors. It's about getting them longer and stronger, right? So I have a feeling these back squats should be part of the regimen. It should be part of my thinking. And to my, pleasure, I like thinking about back squats. So back squats are back. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.